let's run this example again. Let's do a run Java application. This actually looks pretty good, but what I want to do is I want to sort the output so I see all the H's together: hours worked, overtime, and weekly salary. So I want it to basically be sorted, so I have a pattern when I'm looking for it. Okay, so the goal is to sort this. Now let's go to the person class just to go over something. So notice that map and hash map are two different data types. The reason I can do this is that because this has a parent and child relationship. So this is the parent, this is the child. So if I did here, I'm going to go to map and say Control T, I'll notice that hash map should be somewhere on that list, and there it goes right there. There goes hash map. But for this example, I actually want to use something called a tree map. So if I can find it somewhere, that's a child right here, tree map. And this is going to be used to sort the data, okay? So let's go into, instead of hash map, let's do a tree map. Let's run this. I'm going to say here, import Java util. Let's save it. And let's run this Java application. Let's see overtime hours, weekly salary. It doesn't seem like it's sorted correctly. So let's go back to see why it didn't sort correctly. Okay. Oh, I see the problem now. If this had been a string, it knows how to sort a string, because a string is a data type that Java created, okay, and it's following a certain standard. Okay, since we created this class, we have to give it a little bit of help on how to sort it. So what this constructor is going to be expecting is a function that takes in two parameters, and what you're going to do in those parameters, you're going to compare the two values that they produce. So for example, I'll go here and I'm going to create a function, and that function is going to need two arguments, and the two arguments it's going to need is the ePaycheck as an argument. So I'm going to say here, I'll say here private. It has to be static because it has to be a pure function. We're going to call it sort, and the first parameter has to be an ePaycheck. So I'll call this S1, and the second parameter also has to be a paycheck, ePaycheck. This needs to return an integer. Okay, so we're going to say here int status is equal to 0 for now. I want to say here return status. Okay, this is just complaining because we never used it. So now what we can do here, now we can go to this particular one. Let me see if I can type in sort, and that doesn't work. What you have to do is you type in person : sort. So what this is saying is that we're passing this function sort. Remember, person is the name of the class and sort is the function. Now what this is going to do internally is going to compare these two values, S1 to S2. We need to do that logic right here. And I think I always forget the rules are. What happens is this is going to return an integer. I think 0 means that you're equivalent, and -1 means that you're less than, and 1 means that you're greater than. So what do I mean by that? Every function, I'm going to say first here, I'm going to go S1, period. Let me see, is there a value? Value of, I don't see a value here. I thought, which one I can do? I can convert it by using a toString. And if you remember in the previous example, we overrode the toString, so the toString is going to return as these values. And what we can say here after it's a toString, you can say, hey, can you compare this to S2 toString? Now, every method contains a compare. So if I do here, let's go to, yeah, every method contains a compare to. So I was just trying to figure out, let's see here, if I do Control T on person, and I'll go to object, I'm going to look here, and if you look somewhere, okay, not an object, I'm sorry, I should have looked at string. So let's see here, I don't have a string defined, so let me just define a string here. And I'll do Control T there and double click on string, and let's look for that function compare to, and what it does, it returns an integer, okay, and that integer indicates whether it's greater than, less than, or equal to. So what we're going to do here is, I don't need this example here anymore. When S1 and S2 comes in, we convert it to a two string, so we can get a string value out of it, and we compare the two. And again, I think if it's 1, that means it's greater than. If it's 0, it means it's equivalent. If it's -1, it's less than. This will get called by the tree map, and what this is going to allow us to do is to sort our data based on the string value. Let's save it. Let's run this in hopes this runs correctly. Hourly, hours worked, overtime hours, overtime pay, regular pay. That looks like it's sorted. Okay, so let's go back to person. We're not using the map anymore, so I want you to do Control-Shift-O. Save it. And that's really it. With that, good luck and good coding on the sorting. And we're done for this assignment.